12.2 Negative exponents. Let's recall what we know about exponents so far. We know that 3 to the third power just means 3 times, which would be 27. 3 squared would just be 3 times 3, which is 9. We know that 3 to the 1 power is just itself, which is 3. And then we just learned that anything to the 0 power is 1. So what does the expression 3 to the negative 1 mean in math? Well, negative exponents don't make sense. So the first thing that we have to do if we see a negative exponent is get rid of it. And we get rid of it by taking the reciprocal of the base. So 3 to the negative 1 really means 1/3 to the positive 1. So to make this negative a positive, we just flip the base. And when we take the reciprocal of the base, that turns the exponent to a positive. So in A, we have 3 to the negative 2 power. To make that exponent positive, we're going to flip the base, and that changes the exponent to a positive. And then we can work with it. Well, 1/3 squared would be 1/9, because 1 squared is 1, 3 squared is 9. X to the negative 2 power, we're going to do the same thing even though it's a variable. We're going to flip it, which makes it 1/x, and then the 2 is positive. Well, if I square 1, I get 1, and then x squared is just x squared. Now, when I apply this rule, it only changes the sign of the exponent. Excuse me. So negative 3 to the negative 2 power, if I flip the negative 3, it's still negative 1/3. It just changes the sign of the exponent to a positive. But now, if I square negative 1/3, of course, a negative times a negative becomes positive, and it's 1/9. For D, the whole thing is in parentheses, so that means the whole thing has to get flipped because it's being raised to a negative power. So it would be 1/2x squared, which would be 2 squared is 4, x squared. But for E, the only thing that's being raised to that negative power is the x. So the only thing that's going to get flipped is x. Another way I like to put it is when you have a negative exponent, to get rid of it, put it where it's not. So the 2 is going to stay where it's at on top. And then the x is on top. We're going to put it where it's not. We're going to put it down at the bottom. And that makes the exponent positive. For F, we have 5/x to the negative 4 power. So the only thing that's being raised to the negative power is the x. So we need to put it where it's not. Right now it's on the bottom. We're going to bring it to the top, and that makes it positive. Okay, for G, we have 2x to the negative 2 power. The 2 is not being raised to a negative power, so it stays where it's at. The x is being raised to a negative power, so we need to bring it down to the bottom to make it positive. The y is being raised to a negative 3 power. It's on the bottom, so to make it positive, we're going to bring it to the top. And then for H, the 1 stays where it's at. The 7 is being raised to a negative power, so we need to bring it up to the top. And that becomes 7 squared. Well, 7 squared is 49, and 49 times 1 is still 49. And that's how we deal with negative exponents.